Most people walk right past valuable jewelry at thrift stores and garage sales, and they don't even realize it. But today I'm going to show you exactly how to spot these hidden treasures that could be worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in some cases. Stick around because I'll also reveal the number one mistake that resellers make that is losing them money on jewelry. I've got a couple pieces of jewelry here that I've thrifted. I wonder, which of these two would you assume was worth the most money? And honestly, would you pick them up if you saw them at a garage sale or a thrift store? And if so, which one would you pick? This one that looks like it's silver, it's got some bling, got a little purple stone in there, or this one that looks like yellow plastic beads? As we go along, I will share with you which of these is the most valuable. Some of the things I'm going to be covering in this video, I have compiled into a free download, which I have linked down below. So some of these I'll be referring to from that. So the first visual thing that you can do when you're looking at jewelry at garage sales and estate sales, thrift stores, is to familiarize yourself with brands that sell really well. A piece of jewelry doesn't have to be gold or silver to be worth a lot of money. There are vintage costume jewelry brands that can sell anywhere from $20 to $300+. Some of these include Trifari, Miriam Haskell, Napier, amongst others. And there are lots of contemporary jewelry brands like Van Cleef, Bulgari, not to mention Chanel and others that can sell for a lot of money. So familiarizing yourself with these styles and these brands can really help you find high value pieces when you're out thrifting and garage sailing. The next easy visual that you can do when you're at thrift stores and garage sales is to start recognizing different styles of jewelry that can sell really well. Some of the styles that I like to look out for when I am out thrifting and garage sailing are cameos, especially real shell cameos. If you hold them up to the light, you should be able to see through them and see the carving pretty well through them. If you've got a resin or a plastic cameo, you might be able to see through it, but you really won't be able to see through it like you would with a shell cameo. Recognizing Art Deco pieces with the very geometric styles, that's something that can sell for really good money as well. And finding Victorian mourning jewelry, a lot of times they're black, they could be carved from jet, sometimes they even have hair in them, which can be really valuable. Other things to look out for are really nice or vintage rhinestone brooches. Antique lockets, charm bracelets can sell really well, especially if they're in good condition. Things like filigree jewelry where you can see through and there's lots of little tiny metal scroll work in them. Mid-century modern pieces, which can also be geometric. And recognizing Southwest style and Native American pieces, those can be really great sellers. The next thing to familiarize yourself when you're out thrifting and garage selling, looking for jewelry, are the different materials that can sell well. First up is Bakelite. Bakelite was a vintage, one of the first plastics. It was made with formaldehyde and they no longer make it. Vintage Bakelite pieces, it looks like plastic, but it's got a different resonance to it when you tap on it, and frequently it looks carved. If you see a seam in it, it's not Bakelite. Next up is turquoise. Turquoise jewelry sells really, really well. Cinnabar is another one that I love finding. Being able to identify real cinnabar versus fake cinnabar can be the difference between $10 and $200. And I promised as we went along I would share with you these jewelry pieces. And this one is actually worth a lot more than this. I'll come back to this one in just a sec. But this is actually egg yolk amber. And this is something that I might be able to sell for around $200, maybe more. But there are different colors of amber. There's this style, which is more transparent and yellow, looks kind of like corn. And it can be called egg yolk amber. There's butterscotch amber, which I think technically this is a little more butterscotchy. Then there's Baltic amber. Some of them are more transparent and brown. There's a green amber. So being able to recognize amber when you see it and not leaving it behind when you're out thrifting or garage sailing. And I'll link a video that I have here showing you how to test to see if what you've got is amber. There are some really easy ways to test amber. It sounds like plastic. It's really super lightweight. And if you didn't realize what it was, you might just think it's a cheapy plastic necklace. Another giveaway for me for this one in particular is that it has a silver clasp and that they are also tied in between. That is something else to look for also when you're looking at pearls. A lot of times real pearls will be knotted in between. However, sometimes the fake or faux, even if they're really nice ones, can be tied in between. And I know people tell me not to do this, but for pearls, I will rub them on my teeth because they feel gritty. Like, to me, it's like fingernails on the chalkboard because it's like sandpaper on your teeth. I know there's a way that you can rub them together, but I can't really tell as well that way. Rubbing them on your teeth real quick is a quick way to figure out if what you've got are pearls or not when you're dealing with pearls. Another thing I like to look for when I'm out thrifting and garage selling for jewelry are jewelry with stones. So having something that's got nice stones, things like this, if you see a good image of that, there we go, I got it to focus. Things with stones or things that have really nice glass pieces. There's different styles of glass, dichroic glass. There's all different kinds of glass work pieces. There are micro mosaics, which are teeny tiny little pieces of glass that have been cut out and made to look like a picture. And there are all different kinds of semi-precious, precious stones that have been set into jewelry that can bring really good money. And some of the best pieces of jewelry that you can find that sell really well are gold and silver. So let's talk about some of the things when you're out looking at jewelry that will help you identify gold and silver. And this will lead into the number one mistake that some resellers make, that leave money on the table when they're selling jewelry that is gold or silver. At the beginning of the video, I shared these two pieces, and this one, while it does look like it has a little amethyst stone in it and it looks like it could be silver, this one is actually just a piece of costume jewelry. It's not silver, it's nothing fancy, and probably isn't worth that much money. So how can you tell if it's gold or silver when you're out at a garage sale, you don't have a testing kit with you? What can you do? Well, one of the first things to do is to look at it and see if you see any marks on it, because that's one of the first ways that you can easily tell, maybe, if it is gold or silver. If you've got a piece that is gold and it's marked 10K, 14K, 18K, then you could have something that is gold. And if it's silver, it might be marked 925. But it can be tricky because stamps are cheap. And sometimes these pieces come from dubious sellers that have stamped a piece to try to be deceptive and make you think you're buying something that's gold or silver when it really isn't. A quick way to tell, I have a huge magnet, but you could have a little magnet with you when you go out. And if you've got a piece that is sticking to the magnet like this, it's not going to be gold or silver. And I know there are rare exceptions where a piece of jewelry is magnetic, and it is because the other base metal that's been mixed with it is a magnetic metal. But most of the time, if you've got a piece that is attracting to your magnet, it's not gold or silver. And that also is to say that this ring, which is not silver, it doesn't attract to the magnet, but with something like this, there are lots of other silver colored metal that is not magnetic, like stainless steel. But what you can do, if you've got a piece of jewelry and you're looking at it, whether it's marked or not, and you see that it is tarnished, you can tell it's probably silver and it's starting to kind of get that black color to it. What you can do is either rub it with your finger, and you'll notice that the silver starts to kind of brighten up in the spot you rubbed, and you'll start seeing like a black spot on your finger where that patina, that tarnish, is rubbing off onto your finger. And then you've got a better idea that, all right, this is probably silver because that black tarnish is coming right off when I'm rubbing it off, and it's shining up in that spot where I was rubbing it. Now, if you've got a gold piece or even a silver piece that when you're looking at it and you see some green tarnish on it, that's called verdigris, and that is not good, and that is not gold. So verdigris is this corrosion that starts breaking down the jewelry, and it'll be this crusty greenish blue material that's forming on top of jewelry. So if you see that, I know there are ways that you can clean it up, But if you're not really familiar with it and you're just getting started, it's probably best just to leave it. Unless the piece is like super amazing, then maybe pick it up and try your hand at cleaning it up. Another thing to do is if you've got a piece of jewelry that looks like it might be silver or gold and you're not quite sure, is to look at the inside of it, like the area where it would rub against the skin, or look at where the piece might have a clasp where it opens and closes, where it rubs against itself. Take a look at that part, and if you see that the finish is rubbing off, then it's a piece that might be plated or coated, and it is not going to be gold or silver. If that coating is starting to rub off, then that's something that you can walk away from because it's probably not going to be worth a lot of money. And the number one mistake that resellers make when they're trying to sell jewelry from thrift stores and garage sales is to either one, trust the mark that's on the jewelry, or two, think that because the jewelry isn't marked, that it's not gold or silver. And I've got a couple examples here. I recently did a video where I was showing you how to test gold jewelry, and I had these two pieces in it. And I was really surprised. One, this set of earrings, the post that goes into your ear is marked 14K. And usually when you see a piece of jewelry like that where it's marked 14K, you might assume that the whole thing is 14K, which I kind of did because it was heavy. I was like, it's kind of heavier than what you would expect. But when I tested this piece, sure enough, the post is 14K. The rest of the jewelry did not pass the gold test. So if I sold these earrings on eBay just because the post was marked 14K and I listed them as 14K earrings, because of their weight, they would be worth quite a bit of money. But if I were the buyer and I got these, I might be, well, I would certainly be a little ticked off because item is not as described. They're not 14 karat gold all the way. So having a gold testing kit at home is very valuable, especially if you're selling jewelry. I have the gold testing kit that I use linked down below. And then this pendant was not marked at all. Not a maker's mark, not a gold mark on it, but it did test positive for 14 karat gold. So if I had this and I was just going off, well, it's not marked, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, and I don't have the kit to test it, then I might have sold this for way less than what it was worth. So making sure that you are testing the jewelry you've got and also familiarizing yourself with gold hallmarks from other countries. And it would be really hard to know all of them, but if you see a mark on a piece of jewelry and you're not sure what it is, take the time to test and research. I recently found a pair of earrings that I ended up keeping, but they were gold and they had Egyptian hallmarks on them. I knew it was in another language. I couldn't read it. I thought, well, maybe it's Arabic, maybe it's something else. And when I took a picture, did a Google search, sure enough, they were Egyptian earrings and they were Egyptian marks. But there are maker's marks from England, whether you've got the different hallmark stamps or if it says 585 and you're like, wait a minute, I don't know what 585 is. Take the time to look it up because it might be something that is worth selling. I will link my free download in the description box, and there are places there where you can add on different maker's marks or different stamps that you learn about as you're going along learning more about reselling jewelry. And I've also linked down below the jewelry toolkit that I use so that I can test all the different kinds of jewelry that come across my path to make sure that I'm not leaving money on the table when I'm selling jewelry. All right, treasure hunters, let's get out there, find those hidden treasures at thrift stores and garage sales, and sell them on eBay for big money. Thank you for watching. Bye.